Hey guys, it's Matt, welcome to SpeedTutor, and let me welcome the Super Character Controller, something that's going to swoop into your Unity scenes today and make your life that little bit easier. So Aidan Graves on the Unity Asset Store has taken his first person all-in-one character controller and revitalized it, revamped it, version 2, everything from the ground up with all the feedback that he's been given over the past 3 years. And this character controller has support for first person, third person runtime switching, auto generation of UIs, it can take into account slopes, stairs, steps, it has enhanced controls for jumping, for stamina, for sprinting, for sliding, for survival statistics, it has dynamic footsteps, whether that be for normal materials, physics materials or terrain layers, it has interactions and collectibles for C#, it has support for moving platforms, rigid body support, and it has support for both the old and the new input systems, and so much more to fine-tune your own super duper character controller. So if you do like this asset, be sure to leave him a review on the store so we can continue to make this better. And he has released it for free, so you can take it and do whatever your heart desires. So in the package, and you will get two of the character controllers. One is the first person controller and one is the third person controller. And you do have a bunch of demo scenes, which you can look at the demo, the Ominous Office or the Sky-Swept Fortress. And that the Sky-Swept Fortress does have a third person character like you would have seen in the beginning of my video. But we're just going to have a look at what's built into this so you can get a good understanding of whether it's suitable for you and what you can choose to use. The Super Character Controller has a custom inspector, so you have the ability to enable or disable camera control. So if you need to disable this at any point, you can do that. If you're on a menu or you come to some sort of cutscene or something and you need to get rid of it, there's an easy way, an easy place to put the camera that you use. You've got option for a first person or a third person style perspective, which you can set when we show more. So we can show more and we get a bunch of custom particular settings that we need to use. So we can have an automatic for switch perspective. And there's lots of tool dips to explain everything that goes on, and Aidan will be creating some documentation to go with this asset, and it'll be available whenever it's created. You can have a key to switch the actual perspective mode, whether it's first or third. You can use to choose input inversion for the mouse. You can choose to set the mouse sensitivity, how much weight that the camera has and how does it feel. The rotation range, so how far up and down you should be allowed to look. You can lock and hide the mouse cursor automatically, and this can be good if you need to lock for a menu or unhide when you're using a menu. Auto generate a crosshair, and you can add your own crosshair sprite into this slot. You can show the crosshair in third person mode if you want, and draw a primitive UI, which is just the basic stats UI that you might want. Then you've got the camera input controls, which can be set between retro and traditional. You can set the eye height of your character, so it's measured from the character's capsule, then upwards, then the FOV kick, so when you move, you see that jolt forward in the movement that you have, and then the FOV sensitivity multiplier, so how much that affects the mouse sensitivity that you have, and you have an ability to close everything up when you don't need to use it. Then we've got movement controls. There's a really easy, nice toggle to be able to set and stop you being able to move, set your walking and your sprinting speed. You can then choose whether you want to sprint, if you want to toggle the sprint on and off with a key, what key you will use for sprinting, what your sprinting speed is, the deceleration factor, so how quickly you stop sprinting, whether you can crouch, being able to toggle the crouch rather than holding it down. You can choose the crouch key, you can use the crouching speed, the crouching height, so there's so much customization. Then you can have the stance transition, so how quickly you get up and down. You can set the layer for what is actually the ground. You can have the limits for slopes, stairs, and stepping up something with the speeds, which will be very variable in the game that you're creating. Whether you can jump, the jump key, whether you can do continuous jumping, so if you just hit the spacebar over and over, can that be something? How much jump power you have, how much control you have in the air when you jump, and how much the jumping depletes the stamina. And you can set a stamina depletion amount and then disable these according. Then there's even a sliding ability to be able to slide with a key, to be able to show the slide deceleration, how much transition we have with the speed, and then the flat slide distance. Then we have basic parameters for the head bob, just to show that you are moving at any one time, the speed, the power, and the tilt. We have basic statistics for a survival mode, where you have these, where you can have how often this updates, what your health points are at any given time, what the hunger is, health, and the hydration. We have interactables, so you can interact with particular objects within the world. And you have animators, whether you have a first person or a third person animator, with lots of debugs for ground, movement, vaulting, and the mouse and camera. And I just wanted to show in another scene that we have Footsteps audio. We can enable the Footsteps system, which can be controlled by the step timing, and then we can set the amount of clips that will trigger based on the material, the terrain layer, or the physics material that we might use. So we have materials, and what materials will cause a particular random set of clips to play, or something that might be these two grass sound effects, and we can set a set of grass sound effects based on the step timing that we've chosen, whether you want your steps to be faster or slower. So I'll just show you within the game here. You'll be able to hear my footsteps as I move around, and you'll be able to hear it change when I move onto the grass based on the materials that are used below us. And we've got the stamina bar in the middle, which decreases as I'm sprinting, and I let go. We get the FOV change, and we have all the customizations for jumping. And you can see that when I walk up to a door here, we can press E for an interactable object, which are built into this system. We've got the survival statistics in the corner, and we have just a load of different customizations that we can use to make this work. And here we have an example of the third person controller, and you can see that I've actually been able to set a button so I could cycle between third and first person. So then I can always get a differentiation. So if you've got your character controller with the animator built out with the animations that we'll use, then we can perfectly transition between the two with all the different parameters that we've used before. And as you can see here, based on the rigid body object, we can take into account the physics for being able to move onto moving platforms, and even have interactables in terms of collecting gems and other things like that, which will update in the basic UI, which means there's just so many facets to this asset. So I'm going to leave the link down in the description so you can check out the super character controller today. But do remember that Aiden gives this asset away for free, and he doesn't mind you giving suggestions, bug reports, and the occasional request, but he will be giving very minimal support because he used his spare time to create this, and he's made a really robust system, and it's just open source for anybody to use to modify in any way that they wish. But make sure first and foremost that the documentation will be the first port of call, and remember, it's absolutely free. So be sure to check it out today, let him know what you think, leave a review on the asset, and let me know what you think in the comments, because it's something quite incredible. So thank you so much for watching. Be sure to check out my Patreon to access over 120 different scripts and projects you can't find anywhere else. Come and join me on Discord if you want to chat. Check out my great assets on the Unity store, and thank you so much for watching. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe.